Hello, guys. Welcome to another episode of e-commerce lab by Ecomcy, the place where AI related to Amazon FBA Pro level and e-commerce. My name is Vincenzo Toscano, founder and CEO of Ecomcy, and today we bring another special guest. His name is Pietro Mappers, and he's the founder and CEO of Success Mappers, where they specialize on everything related to advertising and strategy when it comes to Amazon. And that's why I wanted to bring Pietro because not only he's Italian like myself, but he also has a pretty good understanding about kind of the customer journey that consumers have to go through when it comes to having the final purchase engagement on Amazon. And we're having a conversation before going live actually about this, like what is the importance of understanding what are the different engagement points people have to go through before making a purchase. Because I think if you understand that, you can reverse engineer that into actions that you can effectively use to optimize every single thing, such as advertising, your listings, and so on, which I think is going to be very, very important moving forward. So, Pietro, welcome to the show. How you doing?
Hi Vincenzo, I'm doing great. What about you?
Good, good, good. How's everything going?
Great, great. I'm very excited of this call and talk with you.
Same, same. Thank you so much for being here. So, I guess for those that might not know you, give us a quick introduction about yourself, your business, what you guys do, and then, of course, we can dive into the topic. Yeah.
Great. So I'm Pietro Mappers from Success Mappers, and since 2017 we help Amazon brands grow on Amazon with optimized marketing.
Cool, cool. So, in terms of where you are based right now, you're in Italy, is that correct?
Right now I'm in Como. I live between Como and Milano.
Cool, cool. This is very good for those listening and watching as well because we have a lot of people also from Italy sometimes joining in. So, if you want to have
Oh,
a
nice.
conversation for those watching and listening Italian, Pietro can be your guy as well. Cool. So, Pietro, so let's dive into today's conversation, which is about the customer journey. I think this is something that I found super, super important for people to really reverse engineer because that's really where if you do the right actions from an advertising point of view, from an image point of view, from a copy point of view, offer and so on, you can really kind of maximize the outcome that you can get in terms of revenue. So tell us from your perspective and everything you're seeing, especially how Amazon's been shifting for the last couple of months and years. What are some of the considerations? And what is that initial first step you will tell to people that is the thing that you have to do to get the most out of a customer journey?
Yeah, yeah. So to introduce a little bit about this process, we developed this process because we see with clients that you need to have a very clear picture of the full marketing spectrum, right? And the marketing on Amazon is very complex, and we see also it's very hard to implement the right step at the right time with clients, especially because on Amazon everyone has not enough money and time to do everything. Right. The more you stay on Amazon, the more you see that there is 1,000 action you could do on Amazon. Uh, you know so many strategies. I'm sure Vincenzo, I know all of them too. But the point is you need to be able to decide what is the priority and implement it fast. So the customer journey, the Amazon customer journey, is the full process that we defined that the client is experiencing to buy your product and to buy your product over and over and over again. Why is useful? As I explained to you, is from a strategy point of view, and is useful to grow faster. So if you're
Yeah.
able to use the investment in a more efficient way, you will be able to grow faster with the money that you have. So the
Cool.
goal when you optimize the Amazon funnel is usually more sales and rank higher on Amazon, right? Everyone knows that. The focus I explained to you is about having the experience and the full picture view. I will try now to go more into details about what are the exact parts that we found are the most important parts of this customer journey. Um, the starting
And I
point,
would say a quick
sorry.
question, Peter. I'm sorry for interrupting. I guess in this customer journey, before we dive into the details, do you feel from your experience will this change a bit from type of product to another? For example, will this journey be different from a supplement brand compared to a toy brand, or compared to any other kind of product? Because I'm assuming maybe people behave different. So high
Yeah.
level, we don't have to go maybe into details, but is there also different there that people should consider as well?
Yes, yes, yes. So, for example, if we talk about supplements,
Hmm.
lifetime value is one of the most important metrics for supplements and cosmetics. Like you want clients to repurchase your product over and over and to recommend to other people how good is your product. So, if you want to be very good in the customer journey for supplements, for example, you need to have a strong touch points after the purchase, Amazon packaging marketing, make sure the product experience is great. So people are very successful with the supplement. And also we see that the most successful brands are the one that get recommended word by word, right? Or for example, we had some clients that have luxury or very premium products,
Hmm.
and there is not a specific high intent search on Amazon that justify an higher price, better features, better materials, and you need so improve the before Amazon education, right? Sometime it's something that we don't suggest to everyone, but sometimes we see that educating the people outside of Amazon, for example, with YouTube, about why your product has these premium features can help to convert to a higher price later.
Cool, cool. Yeah, this is something that I think is important that we emphasize before going into the details, because some people might then assume that whatever we're going to be talking today might be kind of copy paste across the board, but it's important to have these considerations, because if you don't, you might completely build like a whole funnel that is not adapt to the nature of your product, and then it can penalize you in the long term.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I totally agree. In fact, that is the reason why we developed this process. We wanted to have a standardized system that
Hmm.
everyone needs to be aware on. But then every Amazon store owner or any Amazon agency owner doing this process needs to be able to say, okay, this is the step that is the priority right now, and I need to ignore all the other 10 steps. Right?
Yeah, yeah. So now, in terms of steps, let's dive into kind of next steps when it comes to how to get started. So you were going into that. Tell us like what would be, once we understand the nature of the product and we kind of have high level an understanding what are the things that we have to be careful moving forward. What would be the next step in terms of execution? What you say?
Yeah, so the execution, in my opinion, would be to be fully aware of all the steps and take time to study your product. Take time to understand what is the behavior clients have with your specific product, and then be aware to say what is the priority or not. And then the first step, in my opinion, is to saturate that touch point. So let me
Mhm.
explain. If, for example, you think that the package marketing funnel is missing, instead of optimizing all the other stuff, feel that missing step, right? So the first step is to feeling what is missing, right? If you don't have a good product experience, solve that product experience, right?
Mhm.
After everything is filled and optimized, uh, you can also try to optimize the conversion rate of each touch point. So you can optimize the before Amazon, you can optimize the package marketing funnel conversion rates, right? But the point is, make everything that is necessary to you, and then you optimize. This said, always we see that the best return of investment usually for our clients is about the optimization of the Amazon conversion points that are usually the main image, the secondary images, the listing optimization, and advertisement optimization. So be able to be on the right keywords with the right advertisement.
Cool. So with this one, when it comes to keywords and everything, tell us, I guess, high level how you would come about this step. Like, do you have a specific kind of tool that you recommend? Or you stick with Amazon, like Brand Analytics? What is your preference when it comes to this?
So we use pretty much all the famous tools. We use the Django Scout, Helium 10, Seller Sprite. We analyze
Hmm.
also keyword trends sometime. But I think um, the best, the most important thing we do is to define very specifically what are the most relevant high intent keywords of your product, because it's not
Okay.
about having more keywords, it's about finding the super relevant keywords that are will convert to your product so well. So I think that is the strongest thing we do. Also, if we are talking about European sellers, we've seen that we do a lot of AI keyword categorization. I
Mm-hmm.
think this is helping us a lot, and this was a big change in the last 1 or 2 years. So we use AI to help us to define super relevant keywords in a lot of different languages. So if you sell all in English in USA market or UK market, maybe this is not an issue that you have. But if you're a European sellers, we find that is a lot about economy of scale and the speed of implementation.
Cool. Cool. Yeah, especially speed of implementation is very important because with so many tools that we're seeing out there and people embedding AI, like people are making decisions on the fly, which is you don't have some kind of automation on the spot, like you can be left behind pretty fast. So, very important thing to execute as you scale.
Yeah, yeah. AI is changing so much the Amazon marketing. I see a lot. Is not anymore too much about knowing more strategies or more knowing more about the Amazon marketing, but is more about implementing it very fast and cheaply using all the tools available. AI is one of the biggest assets right now, in my opinion.
Yeah. Cool. So let's assume we have the keywords being selected, and of course, assuming as well that you know already how to utilize all the tools we briefly mentioned. What would be kind of the next thing to make sure that we properly optimize the journey? Because at this stage, I'm assuming by having the right keywords, we're now positioning ourselves to have as much visibility as possible. We are in that journey where people is at the beginning phase of searching potential for the product that might solve their needs or give them the solution they're looking for. So what would be the next thing you had to reverse engineer on the journey? What you say?
Okay, so after you define very well the keywords that is king on Amazon, and after you define, like for example, the main image, we see that has one of the highest ROI. I think the next steps would be to be able to implement advertisement at scale on all the most important keywords and be able to optimize them efficiently. Um, we see a lot of opportunity in the repurchase part of the funnel. So, for example, being able to create a system to increase the lifetime value and the repurchase is something that, in my opinion, is important that you do to turn a random private label uh, on Amazon in a real brand.
Mm-hmm.
And Amazon is giving us a lot of tools, like with brand tailored promotions, for example.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's something that you should check for sure. And then about YouTube, that's something interesting that we've seen. We recycle a lot of content on YouTube, and we
Mm-hmm.
try to create content for the super relevant keywords on Amazon or YouTube. And we see that sometime if the founder does a video about the product, simply talking about the product, and publish a random video on YouTube explaining how the product works, we see a lot of traffic from there, and I think that is helping conversion afterward in the funnel. Um, the problem with YouTube, you need to be doing it at scale,
Yeah.
otherwise it's a waste of time.
Like
But in
unboxing videos, how to videos, before and afters with a lot of influencers, kind of. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You can do that. You can do slideshow, for example, also. But we've seen that the best converting videos are the one where the founder is talking about the product, and it's very simple stuff. But I think they really help to create connection, because Amazon is very there is not intimate connection on Amazon. It's very product based, right?
Mm-hmm.
People do type a keyword and they buy the best offer, right?
Yeah.
But if you are able to find the clients that check on YouTube the main keywords before going on Amazon, you'll be able to connect better and sell more.
Cool. And I guess you cannot even repurpose some of the content on Amazon itself, maybe with your video campaigns on PPC and things like that to show more kind
Exactly.
of realistic footage of people engaging with your product that might connect more with the consumer, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. We recycle most of the YouTube stuff that we do. For example, we suggest to do is recycled.
Okay.
Recycle because you need to validate YouTube. So if you see that the YouTube or any other social media before Amazon in the customer journey before Amazon is
Okay.
getting traffic, you can invest more there. But I wouldn't suggest to all the Amazon sellers watching this video to start doing YouTube for their products. I
Hmm.
highly unsuggest that. Like, don't do
Yeah.
it, but you can test it, and if you see traction, that's an interesting
Yeah.
validation.
And this is something that goes side by side with other strategies such as PR releases or having blogs or newsletter. But again, as you mentioned, it requires a scale to really make it work. So if you don't have the budget or the bandwidth to make it that magnitude, it's better to just stick with the traditional ways of launching, which is sticking with Amazon kind of resources, right? In terms of
Yeah,
PPC and all
exactly.
that. Mhm.
Exactly. And I repeat again, I think the most important thing that if you want to be successful on Amazon in 2026 or 2027 is about focus and priority. So you need to be aware of everything that we are talking about, the Amazon
Mhm.
customer journey, all the best strategies you see around, but you need to be very disciplined and find the right thing for you right now. Focus on that very strong, the best ROI activity, and dominate that activity. Maybe you
Cool.
need to in your YouTube, maybe you need to in your
Mhm.
other stuff, but you need to do it in that way.
Cool. So on that note, assuming this is also being taken care of, what will be the next kind of block on the journey that you will look into in terms of optimization as well?
So the main ROI activities are always, in my opinion, I mean, from what I see from the clients we work
Hmm.
with the main image, I think if we talk about more about the main image, we see that the best sellers push the limit of the main image term of service with Amazon.
Hmm.
I don't like to say it because I want to be 100% compliant with Amazon. But the strategy that we suggest is check the competitors what they're doing and try to reach that threshold of terms of service. Sometimes
Okay.
they do something that is not 100% correct, but if competitors are doing it, you should do it to optimize the click-through rate because the click-through rate with the main image is very important. About the secondary images, for example, we had a talk with ex Amazon insider um, and on the YouTube channel, and he said that from the internal Amazon datas, they seen that most people don't read much of the listing. So they
Mm.
don't read bullet points. Maybe they read the incipit, so the
Yeah.
starting bullet point, but they don't read the description. And so the conclusion that we took from these insights was
Hmm.
to be very strong with images. So how can you communicate the message and the value of the product without speaking or with
Yeah.
very few words that everyone talks about?
Cool.
And
Cool.
another, yeah,
Go
and another insights, and then I conclude. I'm Italian. I talk too much sometimes.
on.
Uh,
Not ours.
and another
Understand.
insight, yeah, yeah, you too. No, me more. But I see that, for example, this Amazon insider told us that customer usually watch the first 3 or 4 images, so they don't even go to see the last images or the last video, right? So, what can you learn from this lesson is be very optimized on few things that are very important. Optimize everything other, but be aware that that's the most important stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I think something that you mentioned there is the focus of things. I think goes very connected as well with how Amazon has shifted the game. Like, I think before, when it comes to optimization, you could be very broad and try everything under the sun to see what will stick in terms of outcome. But now we're in a phase, especially with Rufus being deployed very heavily, how Amazon is essentially changing the game of relevancy. That if you don't very focus on the traffic that you drive to your listing, the keywords that you put on your listing, the images, the people that you put on the images, and the keywords you optimize for on your PPC, essentially you're gonna build a relevancy kind of a vault in terms of knowledge around your product, which is gonna be wrong. It's gonna be very tough, essentially, to refine this whole funnel experience we're talking about, because Amazon would then assume that you are going for a consumer that is actually not your consumer. So focus on the refinement, right, and going for all the fish out there in the sea is gonna be key, because otherwise you just become a commodity on Amazon eyes, and you're not really specializing on the niche where you can become a market leader. You know.
Yeah, and also keeping in mind that Amazon is getting every time more expensive. I mean, we've seen in the last year the ad costs increasing in Europe, specifically, but I see them increasing more. So you need to be very optimized on few things, right? You don't have the budget anymore to do everything or to waste money. You
Hmm.
need to be, as you say, be very specific about what you do and very surgical about the marketing process.
Yeah, yeah. So now, in terms of other things that you add to this, like what are, for example, your thoughts on the customer journey when it comes to then scaling the business forward? Because of course we talked so far about the beginning, which is finding the traffic, optimizing for the traffic, then the retention of the traffic, and then from there building relevancy. But is there any other elements you think people maybe should start adding to the equation? I know we briefly touch on YouTube, PR, blogs, and all of that, but just a brief maybe kind of parenthesis here, like what are your thoughts of people that now to support the Amazon journey, they are going heavily on TikTok, or they're doing heavily on social media ads or Google ads? Do you think that's a good strategy in 2026, or do you think they are actually making the mistake which we just talked about focus, and they're getting distracted on things that shouldn't be distracted?
Okay, so that's interesting topic. How I see it is you should do as big companies do. Like big companies do have budget allocated for research and development, right? Maybe they allocate 5%,
Hmm.
8%, 10% of the profits to research and development. I think you should
Hmm.
do the same, right? Focus the budget on what is bringing results, right? And then allocate some budget to be competitive in 10 years or 5 years. If you think that TikTok is the best opportunity, okay, test it, validate it, and after validating in the way that you suggested, recycling content, then you scale it, hiring people for that channel, right? But the point is always about priority and focus. You need to be very focused on the funnel in especially in the BOFU and the
Hmm.
MOFU of the funnel. Don't go too much in the TOFU. I don't know
Hmm.
if people know about the funnel. Like there is the wide part of the funnel is the TOFU, right?
Yeah,
Where people are not
which
they
is
don't
top
have
of
high
the
intent.
funnel. For those that might not know, it means top of the funnel. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Hmm.
be careful to not go too much away from the conversion point. TikTok, um, yes, it can be useful. It really depends of the product. Just test, validate, and focus on the most important things first.
Yeah, I think what you mentioned there is key, because I feel a lot of strategies sometimes inside of Amazon focus too much on top of the funnel. But the thing is, they're great, they're impactful, but they take time to get cooked and essentially give you the results. It's not something that you put money today and next week you see the results. I think
Exactly.
it's something that if you have the money sitting around and you have nothing else to do with the money and you're in that good position, definitely invest a lot on top of the funnel, because long term that's going to be impactful. But if you're a brand that getting scale and everything, I think the core um, area where you should be putting most of your time and money is what we're talking about, like refining your audience, finding the right structure in terms of keywords and content, doubling down on relevancy, and then making sure essentially you can complement things with what Amazon gives you, or secondary small strategies such as, you mentioned, for example, the YouTube and all of that. Like at the same time, that's not so expensive to deploy, but then you need to be careful that it's not eating into what really is impactful, such as
Yeah, yeah,
PPC. That PPC
absolutely.
can really be
I don't
impactful.
want sorry,
Hmm.
I don't want to take this wrong. Like, I don't suggest to most people
Hmm.
doing YouTube
Hmm.
for Amazon because it's sort of tofu, right? Top of the funnel. But what I say is there is some opportunities that maybe for your specific kind of product you can do it and they bring results.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. Cool. So I guess to start concluding and bring everything full circle, what are the things or maybe advice you want to add on this conversation today that you think is gonna essentially help people go home after listening and watching this and understand really, what they're missing and where they have to take action.
I think if I would need to give a suggestion is about the Amazon marketing is quite mature right now. So there is always new things coming out. But in my opinion, it's not anymore about knowing more stuff, but is more about implementing the right things at the right time. So priority and focus, and also with the systems. So if you want to do TikTok, great, you validate, but then you need to create a system around it. You don't have the budget to do things randomly or invest your owner time to do that. Because with AI, with software's AI, for example, are giving you the opportunity to automate a lot of activities. And I
Hmm.
think who would be very successful long term from now on would be the implementator of optimal marketing at scale with efficiency with AI.
Cool. Cool. Yeah, I think AI is definitely one thing that has to be a point to go back and do some homework, because everything we discussed today, if you add AI on top of it, it's going to be 10x the outcome that you can get, because a lot of things, of course, that we discuss on today's podcast are still being done manually, which I see with a lot of accounts of people that come to us. But I can tell you, I have seen people that everything we just mentioned today can be done in a day, pretty much, with the right AI, MCPs, kind of agents in the back end. So, of course, it takes some knowledge and execution, but you have to be aware of that, because if you're not, most likely that's what the competition is doing to overtake you, Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Cool, Pedro. So it was a pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being on the show. In case people want to reach out and work with you, tell us more about, where people can get in contact. Yeah.
Yeah, so we have a YouTube channel where we publish some videos, and then we are offering to Amazon store owners free analysis where
Cool.
me or someone of my team jumps with them for a free analysis of their situation. And to get that, you need to type successmappers.com/podcast. You get
Awesome.
it.
I'm gonna put it down below in the description so people can reach out. Yeah. Cool.
Right.
So Pedro, it was a pleasure. Thank you so much, and hopefully I see you soon. Maybe in Italy, maybe at some of the Amazon events. It would be great to
Italy.
catch up. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, it was
Thank
amazing for me too. Thank you so much, Vincenzo. And I want to say hi to everyone here. Thanks for listening.
thank you. Have a good one. Bye bye. Take care.